Hey, Father Taylor here. Quite a cold week. Here it is. But today is Thursday, January 23rd, and here's your weekly e-blast. I'm sitting here with the almost final copy of the Thrive Conference breakout sessions and all that's going on. They're almost done with the whole brochure or whatever. Some of it's online, but just really exciting. Remember, the dates are Friday night, January 31st at 7. That's when the keynote speaker uh, will get up and speak, Brian Hausman. And he's a guy who wrote a book about the anxious generation. And so he's going to be the keynote speaker. Going to be some great worship. That's at 7 on Friday. And then the next breakout sessions, there's a little bit. If you go early enough, there's breakfast. But just want to go over some of the things I'm seeing here. So um, they have a person who's a social worker who actually is I think she might be the assistant director now of the Urban Alliance here in the greater Hartford area. She's got a great um, uh, workshop coming up on having to do with what she calls the phone-based childhood, kids and just like being stuck to phones. And what does it look like? What happens? What's the mental health um, results or consequences of that? So that's what she does. So that's one of the morning breakouts. At 10:30, Brian Hausman's going to be he's doing some of the breakouts himself. What we can do, what we can help families do. So you may not have kids who are that of that age, but we have kids in our church and families of that age, and so this is a whole breakout on what we can help families do. So there's several ones that are all having to do with that anxious generation and dealing with hope and healing and getting over that anxiety, which our culture has produced in ways that are measurable in our, particularly for young people. So that's one part of it. Then there's one called A Church for Every Child. The folks from the underground are going to be talking about anti-human trafficking. Finishing well, developing a kingdom-centered strategy for our 60s, 70s, and 80s. What happens when you retire? I guess it's over, and now we just play golf every day. No, here's a whole thing about living into your 60s, 70s, and 80s, which that's me at this point. Like, how do we live our lives out so that we live a full life all the way up to the time we go see the Lord? There's one workshop I hope 3 or 4 of you go to. It's called Freedom Prayer, Developing a Transformational Prayer Ministry. I've got the book, and I know the person that does the teaching, the one that taught these folks, that could be very important for our church if people went to that and found an interest. It's not just like saying your prayers, but it's how do you pray in such a way that you really minister to people in prayer, and how do you pray for others? Very, very important workshop. I hope some of our folks go to and give me feedback. My panel's up there, From Darkness to Light, Grace for Healing and Recovering from Addictions. And I've got a powerhouse lineup. Esther Gonzalez Torres, that's, what is the group called? Anyway, it's a national group. She runs the Hartford office. Her dad started it. It's just really a powerful thing. So she's going to be there, a psychiatrist who does a lot of work between prisons, churches, and runs the clinical part of the organization in Hartford. And Jay Kurt, who's just a great guy. His mom and dad, as a matter of fact, were some of the people that actually started Valley Community Church back in 1976. But Jay is the head of Celebrate Recovery. I've even said to Jay, hey, like if it's easier for your people who don't want to be seen in the group to do it, we can open a chapter here. So that's why, many reasons. If you found out that you knew a kid, somebody called you up, your kid calls you up and says, I think your grandchild is having problems with some addiction issues. Who do you call? This is where you go. You find out all that kind of information. So it's great ministry information. How about this? In the hot seat, healthy discussions on tough topics. dive into practical tools for navigating biblical conflict resolutions, handling church antagonism. Well, fortunately, we don't have any of those problems here. But anyway, but a beautiful thing that's coming up, joining Jesus in loving our next door neighbors. How do you connect just in your neighborhoods? Learning to disciple like Jesus, imitating key disciple making principles that will help us multiply healthy leaders. Reaching the world in your backyard, English learners near you. I'm telling you, this thing has something for everybody. The worship on Friday night, I think it's going to be really great. I wrote a litany for this, which is about renewal and revival in the Farmington Valley. So Andre Ridnow, who's a Tarrytown guy, who's the pastor at Winstonberry, he and I will be, doing the litany with the congregation together. But I wrote the litany, and it's really for asking God to renew churches. Send your spirit, strengthen churches. May your spirit bring life in us. And may we feel joy. Because when churches are healthy, everybody else in the neighborhood thrives, which is the whole theme of the conference. So this is not their conference. This is our conference. And so I'm really inviting you to take a look at that. Thrive Farmington Valley at Valley Community Church, Friday night, January 31st at 7, and then the next day starting up at 9:30. So, or 8:30. So anyway, take a look. I'd love to see 20 people there, and I want you to take notes, and then I want to get together and find out what's God saying in there. Great? Okay. For us, for this Sunday, it only happens once a year. Maybe we talk to Carolyn about doing this 3 or 4 times a year. But for now, it's once a year annual meeting. We could call it semi-annual meeting or quarterly meeting or biannual meeting. We could do it a variety of ways. But it's this Sunday, immediately following the church. We're going to go upstairs. You know that Carol and Amanda put together a great spread for everybody. It's going to be a lot of great food, coffee, fellowship. If you go to church at 8 o'clock, you got to come back. If you want to come to the 9:15 and save a trip, that's okay. But if you're a church member, it's basically a requirement for you to be there. I mean, no one's taken no role, but part of our organizational function as a 501c3 in the state of Connecticut as defined membership, and meetings are attended by members once annually, therefore annual meeting. This is an opportunity for us to get together, go over what happened last year, and see where is God calling us this year. It's going to be great prayer. It's going to be a great video that's associated with this, and some really great discussion. So hope to see you guys this weekend. God bless you. Stay warm. Okay. So we'll keep praying, and we'll see you soon.